That game is now at the United Center, biggest arena in the NBA, not Sky's typical home court. And we've already seen the effect on Indiana Fever ticket prices. The cost just to get in the arenas for the Fever's next 2 road games way cheaper today than 2 days ago before the news broke Monday that Clark was out with a left quad strain. It's now just $22 to get in tomorrow's road game against the Washington Mystics. That was almost half the $41 it was Sunday. The June 7th game in Chicago now down to $25, and you see there that's more than a 70% drop off in the 86.
The WNBA is suddenly in a downward spiral. The house of cards they constructed around her is collapsing in real time, and the golden goose is down. Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest star, is sidelined due to an injury, and the consequences have been immediate and disastrous. Something crazy began to happen a few days after it was announced that Clark would lose time due to a quad strain. Rather of dipping or sliding, ticket prices plummeted, resembling a drop from a cliff. Furthermore, this isn't conjecture. The WNBA was totally unprepared for the data, numbers, and harsh reality that it faces. Because now that Clark is out, the league is being forced to confront the reality that they have been trying to ignore for months. This entire situation is ineffective without Caitlin. WNBA ticket reselling sites were booming before Clark went down. In some markets, it was impossible to find Fever game tickets for less than $150. They were selling out of upper decks. In order to handle the Clark effect, games were being moved from tiny arenas to stadiums the size of the NBA. Colin Cowherd highlighted Caitlin Clark's revolutionary influence on the WNBA in a recent episode of The Herd, claiming that she is rescuing the league.
So associate professor of finance at Indiana University broke down the economic scale of Caitlin Clark, who is just a phenomenon. So she generated last year 26.5% as a rookie on a terrible team. 26.5% of the economic activity in the league.
Clark's participation has greatly increased ticket sales, viewership, and general interest, he said, highlighting the league's prior issues with profitability and exposure. Clark is the best business player in the league's history, according to Cowherd, who likened her impact to that of sports greats like Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods.
Attendance for the league rose 30%. The valuation of the Fever, $90 million for the Fever before she arrived, now $340 million. That's 4 times. 4 times valuation increase. LeBron didn't do that when he went back to Cleveland. He certainly didn't do it going to Miami or the Lakers. MJ didn't do that with the Bulls. We're talking one player. She is Steve Jobs. She's taking an insolvent company and turning it into a powerhouse.
Because fans were battling for tickets rather than just purchasing them, Clark played a crucial part in improving the league's reputation and financial performance. That's not a typo, it's $9. Tickets to Indiana Fever games are now available for less than $10. Consider that. From secondary market markups and sellouts to prices that are less expensive than a fast restaurant meal. It's not limited to Indiana either. Ticket sales for road games are also declining. The hard reality is finally hitting everyone in the face, and every city that placed a large wager on Caitlin Clark, from Washington, D.C. to Chicago to Atlanta, is now facing the prospect of thousands of unsold seats and refund demands. It was Caitlin Clark, not the WNBA, who is drawing crowds. And the illusion is crumbling now that she's gone. To be clear, Caitlin Clark was involved in more than just ticket sales. She was marketing optimism, a dream, and a WNBA that people could trust. New, exciting, and explosive. ESPN broke viewership records by riding that wave. Products were flying off the shelves. To take advantage of Clark's star power, media outlets completely changed their coverage plans. However, what occurs when a single individual serves as the foundation for the entire PR machine, advertising pitch, ticket sales strategy, and marketing plan? This is a spiral of panic. Let's not mince words. From the first game, Caitlin Clark was the target. The referees did nothing when she was fouled, pushed, and hacked. The league tolerated the physicality night after night. Whether it was politics, jealousy, or simply plain ineptitude, they let their star attraction be overshadowed. They have now lost everything as a result. Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, stated what everyone already knew. No protection is being given to Caitlin Clark.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways. But we also can't allow that to consume us, right?
Clark is laid out while other players receive a litany of reprimands for even the slightest nudge. No phone call. She is pushed away from screens, tugged by her jersey, smashed on drives, and left without a call. While the officials stand there like statues, she is enduring playoff-level physicality in regular season minutes every single night. Her own coach is now stating it aloud. Here's how one fan vented his fury. Due to a quad strain, Caitlin Clark was out for 2 weeks. Let's explore that. While injuries do occur, misuse of muscles can result in muscle strains. She has to put in more effort to reach where she wants to go because she is being held and fouled the entire game. Let's call fouls, the WNBA declared. To make the connections, you don't need to be an expert. Because of quad stiffness, Clark missed a preseason game. After that, she returns, is not given whistle protection, is beaten up like a crash dummy for 4 games in a row, and eventually has a quad strain that forces her to leave the game. This wasn't a coincidence. This could have been avoided. The WNBA is currently dealing with the fallout from their carelessness. In every boardroom from coast to coast, the lights are going down, the emergency button is being smashed, and their precious item is gone. Do you want receipts? Let's revisit the topic of numbers. Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky at United Center. Tickets for the clash on June 7th were about $86 before Caitlin Clark's injury was announced. Prices have drastically decreased to about $25, a 71% discount, after the announcement of her sideline. Fever versus Mystics in Baltimore. Promo codes are now being given freely in an attempt to fill the bottom bowl of what was once billed as the largest WNBA game in the city's history. The next game at Gateway Center Arena will see the Atlanta Dream against the Indiana Fever. The cost of tickets has changed, but precise numbers, there are no details in the existing data about the 48-hour decline from $85 to $17. These decreases are not gradual. These nosedives are emergency situations, and the teams are making every effort. Giveaways of courtside seats, even attempting to conceal Clark's absence from advertising. Without mentioning Caitlin's name, promote the Indiana Fever vs. Sky game in the hopes that casual fans won't notice her absence. As a spoiler, they saw and decided not to buy. Not simply ticket sales are disappearing. It's the ecosystem of advertising that was developed around Clark. Stephanie White was talking about the quad injury that Caitlin Clark had sustained.
And we, Sophie had injury early as well. I think it's the advantage of us, the depth that we added in the offseason, that we're equipped. Certainly we'd rather have it early than late. It's a great opportunity for our team to find an identity. It's a great opportunity for our team to play in a different way. And I also think it's a great opportunity for Caitlin to watch the game from the sideline and to grow in almost like a coaching kind of mindset.
However, we must not overlook the social media abyss, where poisonous groups really rejoiced over Clark's wounds. We witnessed it. You witnessed it. Quote, tweets filled with clapping emojis, laughing gifs, and this is what she deserves comments from fans, from verified accounts, from people who call themselves ambassadors of the women's game. Angel Reef fans are in heaven after seeing this, one fan wrote. Exciting news for Reef fans, said another. Fortunately, the WNBA can rely on a variety of likable stars like Angel Reef and AJ Wilson while Caitlin Clark is injured, one fan remarked. Let that sink in. The WNBA failed to curb a culture of Clark targeting. They are currently witnessing the online explosion of that carelessness digital reflection. The league did more than just fail to keep its biggest star safe. They made it possible for a fan base to support her absence. That is harmful in addition to being repulsive. It tells aspiring athletes that the league will not support them. And who wants to represent this league without star protection? Let's take a moment to discuss basketball. The offensive rating of the Indiana Fever when Clark is playing, 107.5, 82.2 without her. It's not a dip, it's a collapse. That's the statistical equivalent of suddenly dropping from a postseason contender to the bottom feeder. Stephanie White, the coach, is being brave, discussing learning opportunities and identity development. Of course, there can be a bright side to allowing other players greater playing time, like Kelsey Mitchell or Aaliyah Boston. Realistically speaking, though, there's a reason why people weren't shelling out $200 per seat to see Aaliyah Boston post-ups. The foundation of this league and this club was Caitlin Clark. Now what? What would happen if Clark didn't return fully recovered? What happens if this injury persists? What happens if her recovery takes longer than anticipated, or, worse, she has another injury? Do the networks continue to broadcast primetime Fever games? Do teams still spend money on national promotions and larger venues? Do casual fans, those who only recently learned about the league thanks to Clark, remain? The first indications say no. Ratings will decline. Attendance at the arena will plummet. Sales of merchandise will decline. And it might be years before the WNBA receives another opportunity to get this kind of attention unless league executives, team owners, or the players themselves take action and change the culture that made this possible. The prejudice that permeates this league, as supporters have stated, also renders it unwatchable. Then, Caitlin Clark was such an incredible talent that I started following the WNBA when she started playing. Race had no bearing on it, but it was impossible to watch because of the obvious black-on-white hatred for her after seeing how badly she was fouled in every game. How she is still able to play in the league is beyond me. They all despise her. Perhaps this is the time, the alarm that is so loud that the league can no longer ignore it, the wake-up call. Keep your stars safe. Make the officiating better. When your star player is targeted and hurt while you're looking on, stop acting like nothing is wrong. Because this is the reality. Caitlin Clark's entry into the WNBA gave the league everything they could have possibly hoped. Currently, they are witnessing it elude them. This is the only chance that remains. Even though Clark's damage is terrible, it might be treatable. It is anticipated that she will miss 2 to 4 weeks, if not longer. However, if she returns in good condition, the league will have another opportunity. A second opportunity to mend what they damaged. To demonstrate that star protection is a must. To win back the confidence of broadcasters, sponsors, and fans. Additionally, to acknowledge that the Clark effect isn't a trend at last. It is your league's new basis. This relates to women's sports future. Millions of people were introduced to the WNBA by Caitlin Clark. She won over doubters. She converted casual admirers into ticket purchasers. The league has never had anything like what she provided them. Mainstream cultural significance. What was the league's reaction? They allowed her to be beaten. They turn their backs on the referees. They allow players who are envious to take cheap shots. They are currently bearing the consequences. The cost of tickets is skyrocketing. The ratings are about to plummet. The story is falling apart. This goes beyond a single injury. This is about a league that was given a great opportunity at last, but almost blew it when things got tough. The question is straightforward now. Will this teach them anything? Or will they let everything to collapse once more? Because the WNBA only recently discovered its true nature without Caitlin Clark. And that truth is frightening at the moment. Press the like button if you believe that the WNBA should safeguard its stars. Please share this video and leave a comment underneath. Please subscribe for more uncensored opinions and let us know if the league can continue without Caitlin Clark or if this is the start of the